Bauchi State is famous for its tourist attraction site, historical places, and wildlife conducive supporting environment vastly stretch across the state. Apart from the famous Yankuru Resort and the Lemibro Game Reserve, Bauchi State is home to the Sumu Wildlife Park, with its unique variety of animals imported to diversify the classes of animals and types that give tourists the blend of beauty and diversity of nature. Sumu Wildlife Park came into the limelight in 2006 at the initiative of the former Executive Governor of Bauchi State, Dr. Ahmed Adamu Muazu, while in Bauchi. The administration of Muazu then aimed at boosting tourism development, creating investment opportunities by attracting investors through tourism potentials in the state and opening a window of opportunity for mutual international partnership and collaboration with foreign nations in the broader perspectives of tourism exchanges and development. The story of Sumu Wildlife Park, in terms of the solid foundation of its establishment and development under the administration of Governor Ahmed Adamu Muazu, the legacies and the challenges that it passes through to this day will be told some other day. Today, we are concerned in this production with unhealthy development, a disturbing phenomenon, and a brewing communal misunderstanding and skirmishes that pose great danger to the survival of the wildlife park, thus undermining the management and safety of the natural habitat of the general wildlife environment. Corruption is a potential enemy that grounds any will of progress and development, and this is what seems to be rearing its head, as our preliminary investigations reveal. Exchange Hammer Media has unearthed how some government officials allegedly connive with local communities around the park to illegally tamper the animal's environment with farming activities. Claims of purchase and counter-purchase, denials of the right to access, and the outright head-on confrontation all point to one fact: unity in corruption to undermine the effort of the government. Investigation revealed that officials assigned to manage the Sumu Wildlife Park, including some communities from Toro local government area in Bauchi State, bordering the park, and some other communities of Ganjua local government area, where the Sumu Park is located, are complicit, with their hands looming in collaborative corruption to subvert the park. What is the genesis of the matter? How does it gradually snowball into a big issue? Who is involved and the level of involvement? Is the government aware of the matter? What is it doing about it? These and more as we find the facts of the matter, with our reporter leading us to the realities on the ground.
This is the road that comes out from Kafin Madaki, the headquarters of Ganjwa local government area, of 10 km distance leading to this village, Ringim. And from this village to Sumu Wildlife Park is about 5 km. And it is in this village that the farmland dispute is causing a call for concern between the locals in the community and a nearby Bakinrua community, located in the neighboring Turu local government area.
From Ringim village, we arrived the Sumu Park just to capture the situation on the ground, and our visit reveals some cogent points.
This is Sumu Wildlife Park in Bauchi State, one of the tourist sites in the states, and sure you remember it was created during the administration of former Governor Alhaji Ahmed Adamu Muazu. The wildlife park is populated with a variety of animals brought from Namibia to boost the tourism industry in Bauchi State and to expand investment opportunities for revenue generation.
Having left Sumu Park, we arrive at the border village between Ganjua and Toro local government areas. That village is Bakirua on the side of Toro local government area.
This place is a border area between Ringim, Ganjwa local government area, the Sumu Park, Ganjwa local government area, and Bakinrural village in Toro local government area. As you can see, this road will take you to Ringim, from there to Kafimadagi, the headquarters of Ganjwa local government area. And when you cross this water, over there is Garim Bakinrua village in Toro local government area.
Now to our investigation on the allegation of monumental corruption of encroaching the Sumu Park, selling parts of the land for farming activities to local farmers in the surrounding communities, and the trouble this illegal sale caused in igniting misunderstanding and discord among the warring communities that reside into different local government areas in Bauchi State. While the community of Bakin Kanaka is accusing the people of Bakirua of purchasing lands for farming and destroying crops of their rivals and making threats of some sort, the communities of Ringim and Bakin Kanaka complain of sidedness on part of the government by aligning with the people of Bakirua, denying them fairness in treatment and equally refusing to address their grievances for long, or even conducting an investigation on the matter that got into the business of selling and purchase of Sumu Park parcels of land. On these thorny issues, we first met people of Bakin Kanaka to establish the fact of the matter.
I have farmland in Sumu Park. We gave out 40,000 for every hectare. At Garin Kanaka, we are not more than 10 people that have farmland at the park. Waziri has one and I Chiruma. And there is one person in Shagari area, I have forgotten his name. The community leader of Kanaka has 2 hectares, one Makeri has 3 hectares, one Alaji Chindu has 2 hectares, and one Lawan has 2 hectares. Our parents spent several years farming on the land. During the time of former Governor Ahmad Adamu Muazu, he invited our community leaders and informed them that he needed the entire forest for wildlife park to be established there. He made promises which include making sure that our children get employed, schools will be built, and roads constructed. But none of this was carried out except for the forest guards that were engaged. Suddenly, we heard that the forest was allocated to the people of Toro local government for farming, while the entire area is in Ganjua local government area. We deserve to be allocated farmlands more than the people of Toro local government, because the land constitutes part of Ganjua and not Toro. Our community leader of Bakin Kanaka has been restraining us from igniting any communal disturbances, but the people in other communities close to us have taken a unilateral decision and allocated to themselves some portions of the forest for farming activities. We are calling on the government not to confiscate the areas allocated to the people. Instead, it should make allocations to those that have been denied in the first instance.
Na samu gonari ta biyu ta hanyar wani.
I am the Waziri in Bakin Kanaka and I got 2 hectares of farmland, having paid for it at the rate of 80,000. The community leader Danjuma facilitated that for me. Each hectare of the farmland cost 40,000 naira. However, I was told that we will farm on the land for just a few years and they will be retrieved from us. We are closer to the forest and therefore more deserving to be allocated with pieces of land for farming and not the people of Bakin Ruwa.
Muna daga ciki. Ciki na farko an ba da wuri akan naira 40,000.
Yes, I have farmland at Sumu Park, which I acquired at the rate of 40,000. We can conveniently say that we have both won and lost because the entire park has been handed over to the people of Toro local government. Our neighbors, on their own volition, went and allocated to themselves some portions of the land because they noticed that some allocations were made to the people of Toro. But as original owners of the land, they have been denied that privilege. They resorted to self-help. We are law-abiding citizens, and so we are appealing to the government to consider our demand. Allocate enough farmlands that will be enough for our sustenance, and if the land is allocated to the Fulani only for cattle rearing, then that will be so terrible.
The people, especially farmers on the side of Bagirua, who are being accused as intruders from Toro local government area, have bared their minds equally with their own side of the story.
I have 1 hectare of land allocated to me. I was told to continue using it, but the next farmland close to mine belongs to my neighbor. We call on the government to intervene in this issue.
Equally, the community leader of Bakirua speaks on his side of the story to reveal the facts of the matter.
A
a lokacin da ya kawo namun daji tsakanin.
When the wildlife animals were brought to Sumu Park during the administration of former Governor Ahmad Adamu Azu, the distance between the village of Ringim and the park was about 5 kilometers. Between Sumu and the park, it's 6 kilometers. Between Ungwarwawa area and the park, it's another 6 kilometers. But between Bakinruwa and the park is just few meters away. That shows how close we are to the park. Every village area has a school, but none in my area. Before the wildlife animals were brought here, we used to go into the forest, but we don't kill the animals. When Dr. Kasim brought the animals, we discussed with him the issue of allocation of areas that we can farm. But up to the end of the Muazu administration, no one was allocated any farmland. Later, I met the manager of Sumu Park, Adamu Ajia, popularly known as Moses, and requested that he should allocate some areas for us. 3 years later, he came to inform me that he has been directed by the ministry to come and allocate the forest area. At the time, I requested the understanding of the manager of Sumu Park that we should involve Ganjua Local Government Council's Forest Department officers so that they know about our problem. I went to the secretariat of the local government and met my friend, who was the secretary, Ubandomu Madaki of Bauchi. Then we took the land and survey officer of the local government to Ganjua and the land was allocated to the people. Later, just to douse any future complaints, the community leader of Ringim was also allocated 20 hectares of land. The community leader of Bakin Kanaka was given 10 hectares. You will notice that even the bushes they clear are much more valued than the money they paid for the purchase of the land. This was done long before the present permanent secretary and the honorable commissioner was appointed into the office. And when I was asked to stop people from farming on the land, I said it is better they send somebody to serve as a witness when this is communicated. The manager, Sumu Park, Kasim Isa, was directed to come and I invited the people so that he addressed the matter. But still, they continued with the farming activities. We have the document as evidence that the land was allocated to us. It was signed by the Honorable Commissioner, Director, and Permanent Secretary. People of Ringim just decided to start activities on the land without government's permission. Misunderstandings started between Garinkawu community in Toro local government area and Ringim community in Ganjo local government area. When I was informed of the development, I visited the communities for reconciliation, but Ringim community pelted me with stones. And when the news reached my community of Bakinruwa, they mobilized to take revenge on the Ringim community. I pacified my people and the matter watered down. These are some of the underlying issues brewing misunderstanding between my people and those from Ringim community. This is because the Ringim community wants our people to be denied any right to farming activity in the park. And that is why my people rejected the idea, vowing not to allow it happen. The situation is already a recipe for violence. They are just looking for trouble, and that is why they encroach places already allocated to us for farming activities. Instead of them to remain in areas they have already illegally allocated to themselves, I didn't collect anything from them, but I heard that they have bought it. They illegally gave money to someone who allocated them the land. We advise that the government shouldn't confiscate the lands because we farm to feed ourselves. If government confiscates the land, we don't know how to survive.
On the other hand, the community of Ringim, also in Ganjua local government area, joins the people of Bakin Kanaka in making the same complaint of denial of opportunity to farm freely. Instead of the little they have, some people have the audacity to destroy without any move to restrain them officially.
Wannan gona jeji ne wanda tun iyayenmu da kakanninmu.
I didn't purchase the land, I just cleared the place and start farming. Because our fathers and forefathers have been farming here, but now the land belongs to the government. When we noticed that the land was allocated to some other people, not from our local government, we informed the Ministry of Tourism so that they stopped them. When this failed, we decided to start farming here too. We demand that justice be done. This is my farm. It wasn't allocated to me by the government, but we noticed that people from Bakinruwa community in Toro local government area have approval for farming activities here, but we have been denied. That is why we decided to come and start farming here too. Now you can see our crops have been touched, but that of Bakinruwa community have not been touched. My farm is about 3 hectares that it has been destroyed by herdsmen deliberately. We appeal to the government to allocate the place to us, just like they allocated to communities from Toro local government area. We have cleared the forest to farm, but we are not challenging the government. We did that because we have seen that some other people have been allocated to do so, but we have been denied. We have informed the ministry that we are not challenging the government, but we have been complaining and we are not being given attention. We appeal to the government to intervene in the matter between us and our neighbors, and we request that we should also be given the chance to purchase the land as did our neighbors. We are at loggerheads with Kawu and Bakinruwa communities because of the forest area allocated to them, which belongs to Ganjua and not Toro local government, thus denying us. I planted 2 bags of rice on this farm. We had pursued the allocation of the land for farming at least 20 times, but we were denied. We now realize that some people connived with Fulani herdsmen and destroyed our farms. We are not challenging the government, but we appeal for fairness and we demand that land be allocated to us too. This is my farm. We just cleared this place and planted crops because we need food to survive. We did our best to get approval for allocation, but to no avail. And we decided to place ourselves close to our neighbors allocated with the land before we get our own approval. My name is Mekano Muhammad, popularly known as Arzikin Kamutani, residing at Ringim. I am the chairman Sumu Park Vanguard for the protection of the park at Sumu. And we were a registered association with both Ganjua Local Government Council and Bauchi State. When the wildlife animals were brought here, all community leaders were invited. The subject matter borders on protection of the park. We all promised to do our best to protect it. However, we just heard that the leader of Bakinruwa community, Juji Adamu, with the connivance of the manager Sumu Park named Moses Adamu Ajia, have been selling out parts of the park to the people of Bakinruwa and others. For example, Sarkin Fawum Bakin Kaswa was one of those the land was sold to. The aftermath of selling out parts of the Sumu Park because the trouble that was ignited between the people of Ganjua and Toro local government areas. It is because the source of trouble between Fulani and farmers, and trouble between farmers and farmlands from Ringim and Bakinruwa. Herdsmen have trespassed into the farmlands of the people of Ringim and destroyed farms, and left farmlands belonging to the people of Toro local government area intact. Trees were felled and a border was demarcated between the communities. All our farmlands were destroyed, thus leaving their own intact. There was a time people of Ringim blocked road for Bakinruwa people. As a result of the development, the other faction threatened not to sell farm products to people from Bakinruwa. After informing the authorities appropriately, we also blocked the road to demonstrate that we can do it, but police were sent to calm down the situation. In the next 13 days, if the government fails to take steps to stop them, in my position as chairman of Association for Protection of the Park, we will direct our people that none should go and purchase further land in addition to the ones in their disposals. If the government stops them, that is all. We appeal to the government to resolve the matter amicably and do the needful. We need intervention in resolving this crisis, and we have confidence that government will do something.
The community leader of Bakin Kanaka has been at the center of this storm, and we request that he tells the details, which he obliges in this interview.
Abin da ya faru maganan daji ne, gandun dajin Sumu Park, wanda kaɗan daga ciki inda ya dace a gutsura wa manoma mazaunan gurin, wanda ya danganci Ringin Kanaka
What caused the misunderstanding about the Sumu Park was that some people from Toro local government communities, specifically communities of Bakinruwa and Kawu, were allocated the lands instead of people from Ganjwa local government area where the park is. This is what particularly triggered our people to resort to self-help. The Ringim community felt otherwise and without the permission of the government cleared portions of the land for farming. Later, the community leader of Bakinruwa told me that 10 hectares each have been allocated to me and the Ringim community leader. We were told to give 20,000 naira for each hectare, but we collected 40,000 naira each. The community leader of Bakinruwa was the representative who supervised the allocation exercise of the lands. We, the community leaders, were invited by hamlets leaders of Bakin Kanaka, Kafin Madaki, and those of Ringim, Tafizua, Sirin Tafizua at the meeting. We were told to pay particular attention to safeguarding the park properly. Later, the chairman of Ganjwa local government summoned us in the presence of security agencies and warned us of dangers of felling trees in the park without government's permission. I have tried to sensitize the people on the matter, and they should avoid anything inimical that endangers the safety of the park, and they complied. We appeal to the government not to disregard this matter because trouble is brewing and it is better to be fair to all immediately. I called on my fellow community leaders that we should be law-abiding and sensitize their communities as I did so that peace will prevail in our domain.
Alhaji Muhammad Nasir Yusuf is General Manager, Bauchi State Tourism Board. He speaks on this unfortunate development at Sumu Wildlife Park, admitting the involvement of some officials of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism and the government position on the matter.
We received information on what happened in the Sumu Park. It actually happened without the approval of Bauchi State government. All the illegal sales of the land in the park. It was handiwork of some government officials out of selfish interest.
Reminded that some community leaders and residents of communities within the Sumu Park area have alleged to have paid money to some government officials, and they were in possession of written agreement that justify why they farm in the park. The manager concedes.
The attention of the government has been drawn to this issue, and immediately the government appointed a special committee under my supervision. After investigation, we discovered that there was a documented agreement to that effect, which served as evidence in the hands of many residents allocated with pieces of land. However, our investigation revealed that it was done by some of our staff who were involved in the scandal, and it happened without the knowledge of the permanent secretary in the ministry. Therefore, we have immediately taken steps of informing both Ganjwa and Toro local government councils the position of the state government on the matter, that it has revoked any agreement in possession of the residents of the communities done in the past. Furthermore, in that direction, we had ordered anybody who confesses that he is working on the farm because it was either leased to him or given on temporary term. All have been revoked henceforth.
Asked who signed the agreement on the document in possession of the farmers, the manager said,
"It was signed by some of our staff because of selfish interest. The staff officer of the ministry at that time and one other director, a deceased. This necessitated that we summoned all the communities of Ringim, Bakin Kanaka, Bakinruwa, Sumu and Kafin Madaki to discuss and inform them on the true situation on the matter."
Who were the culprits involved in the scandal? The manager said they have identified their staff.
Exactly, we have identified our staff involved, like the staff officer in the ministry of that time and a deceased director, and the manager of the Sumu Park and the rest. We are still investigating the matter even though one of them is dead. We are still expanding investigation because some community leaders are involved. God's willing, soon you will hear steps taken by the government on the matter. The state government is fully aware of the foolishness of its citizens, and it will not allow that to go unpunished. Those who took unilateral decision and started tampering the forest illegally simply because they have noticed some people were doing that, we have warned them against such acts.
When pressed harder to name the culprits or those alleged to have been involved like he conceded, the general manager refused to name the corrupt officials in the ministry. He also did not provide tangible evidence that the culprits were under investigation, raising suspicion as to whether he was being truthful with the claim that the culprits were under investigation and that government was serious in bringing the culprits to book. The inability of the general manager to name the culprit and present tangible evidence that they were under investigation represent how government officials in position of authority continue to shield corrupt elements who consistently subvert the system for their selfish ends and get away with their dastardly acts.